Welcome to CompuScholar's Professional Development Webinar for February 2024. Today we're going to be talking about the accessibility of our online curriculum. And accessibility in this context means making sure the curriculum can be used by students that might have vision problems or fine motor control challenges or hearing difficulties, things like that. So today we will briefly introduce the digital accessibility standards that all publishers should be following, and we'll talk about how CompuScholar supports those standards. And we'll start by saying that accessibility is a complex subject. There's a great deal of energy and thought and research that goes into making things more and more accessible over time. So there are various standards and different versions of those standards that can be met. And the first one of those standards that's very popular is the WCAG 2.x standards. There's a few different versions of that. They tend to get updated year to year. And these standards are published by the W3C Web Accessibility Initiative, and you'll find that quite easily by simply Googling WCAG, and you'll get right to their website. We would encourage you to take a look at that for more information. And the second set of popular accessibility standards are called Section 508 standards, and these standards are published by the US government, and they are intended to be followed by anyone who wants to sell digital material to the government. So if you're spending federal dollars on digital material, then you'll want Section 508 compliance. And the standards are very, very similar to the WCAG standards, but of course anything that private industry can do, the government thinks it can do better. So you have these overlapping sets of standards, and they're quite easy to find on the web as well. CompuScholar is pleased to support accessibility standards for our students, and this is something that we get periodically reviewed for compliance, and our most recent third-party review was early here in 2024. And the main points of accommodation that you'll find are for those students with vision difficulties and motor skills difficulties or hearing difficulties. And let's explore how we support students with these various challenges. So when you think about accessibility, supporting students with vision difficulties probably leaps right to the front of your mind as one of the most popular features. And this has a variety of things that you can do to help out. In our own system, we have what we call an accessible theme. And if you enable the accessible theme, you'll get some high contrast colors and focus highlights and some other visual decorations to help those that are navigating by sight but might have a little bit of difficulty. You'll also find support for screen readers such as JAWS or other third-party modules, and those screen readers can essentially, read the text content aloud to those that can't read it. You'll find video narratives, alt tags on the image descriptions, and a variety of internal labeling called ARIA labels that helps the screen readers understand the navigations and how labels apply to input controls on the forms and that sort of thing. So let's switch over to our system and we'll take a peek at these supports. So I'm logged in as a student and we're looking at a course now in our online system. And this student right now has the default theme with kind of our standard coloring scheme that works well for many, many students. And I'll show you how to enable the accessible theme. So we'll go up to the student profile and we'll click edit and scroll down, and under preferred theme we'll change it from default to accessible, and then scroll down some more and click update profile. Now when we get back into the online system, you'll find a couple of things have changed. One is that our button schemes have changed a little bit for higher contrast. So a black and white color scheme has a higher contrast than green and white, which is our standard coloring scheme. So you'll see some of those buttons changed for increased contrast. As the student tabs around on the system, you'll also see some focus highlights. So it's important to make sure students understand which controls have the focus as you're tabbing around on the screen or if you're clicking on things. And so that's the second part of the accessible theme. Now, regardless of whether or not you enable that accessible theme, the system navigation elements are correctly labeled with the internal ARIA labels. So when you engage a screen reader like JAWS and you go through the menu system, for example, it will read out that menu system in a coherent way and help sight challenged students understand the different things within the menu system or as they navigate through the breadcrumbs and the other options that we have within the system. The second main point of emphasis for accessibility is supporting students with fine motor control difficulties. So sometimes a student might not be able to use a mouse successfully, and in that case you want them to be able to use the keyboard to access all features. Or on the flip side, if the students can't use a keyboard, you would like them to be able to use the mouse to access all features. So let's take a look at this in action. Now when you want to navigate through a page with the keyboard instead of the mouse, when you start hitting the tab key, you'll switch from section to section. And the first option up in the top left corner there is skip the main content, which will bypass all the menu decorations and get you right into the chapter contents. And then we can then tab our way through the various things. We can hit the enter key to select an item. So when you're looking at a video, you can hit tab again to tab through the major browser controls. You can see the different highlights here as you keep tabbing. And you can tab your way down to the narration text as well. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. Let's open up a lesson text page with the keyboard. And within a lesson, you can use the standard browser-based keyboard controls like page up and page down to scroll up and down through a lesson. You can also hit tab to put your focus on assorted things. So we can tab into the vocabulary, for example, and press enter, and then enter again to toggle the pop-up definition and tab on to the next thing. And so this allows a student to navigate through and use all of our lesson features simply using the keyboard. And so the last major line of support comes to support students who have hearing difficulties, and that naturally means we're focused on the audio content. And so the audio content is contained within our instructional videos, and you'll find that those instructional videos have both closed captions, which is pretty typical, and we've also recently added video narrations, and these narrations allow students to get the entire text description all at once along with some starting code. We currently have 4 courses that support these video narrations: our Tech Essentials course, our Computer Science Foundations course, our C# and our Java programming courses, and the remaining courses will be updated very soon as well. So let's go take a look at these video supports. Okay, we are looking at a typical chapter, and we'll open up a lesson video. And you can see the videos have closed captions. You can toggle those captions using your browser features. We do have both English and Spanish captions available, so you can choose either one, or turn them off completely. We've also recently added a new narration text feature, so if you click on the narration text button at the bottom, see the full text transcript of the video along with any additional narration that's needed, and that includes the starting code. So if you're curious about copying the starting code off and trying it for yourself, you're welcome to do that right here. And this text-based narration is something that you could translate into other languages as well. So if there's something besides English and Spanish that you'd like to use to consume the content, you can engage your typical third-party translation tools like Google Translate to translate the text from the videos into any preferred language. And that's a quick tour of CompuScholar's accessibility features. They're very easy to demonstrate, but it does take some time and attention to make sure they're done correctly. So we do welcome your feedback and suggestions. You're welcome to contact us through our website, by phone, or by email. Thanks for watching.